Hey everybody, welcome back to the Engineered Angler. I'm here messing around with some experiments on the silver plate. You guys remember the video I did just a few weeks ago where I was silver plating these lures, and I promised that I'd get back with you guys on some clear coating tips and some tinting of the clear coating. But I've had so many questions about this process, and I think there was a lot of sort of misunderstanding of what it really was, and that's my fault because I'm supposed to be explaining this stuff. But essentially this two-part silver plating that's done with my gun, and let me show you the setup again. That's done with this duplex gun that I had to make. Now that doesn't mean I invented it. All I did was take a gun that was already available. I just created a much smaller one for this particular use. Silver plating small items, right? But before I did this video, I made a video where I tested a couple of other products which are pretty popular. Spastics and the Krylon Looking Glass Spray on Chrome. These are a very different product. This actually is metallic flakes suspended in a matrix of some sort of clear coat. In contrast, this system is the kind of system they use for making mirrors, which is two chemicals. One is silver diluted into a solution where you have a concentrated silver ion solution, and the other is there to react with it, just so that it'll drop all that silver out of solution onto the surface of whatever you're trying to put silver on. And what it drops down there is a very thin coat of silver. It is pure silver, and that's why it's so reflective, right? It is, and I think I've said this before, silver just is the most reflective element on Earth. It just happens to be that. That's the scientific reality. So when it comes out perfect, flawless, it's absolutely unbeatable for reflectivity. That said, it isn't the easiest thing to apply. It takes a little preparation and a little bit of practice and the right gear. But let's go back to the tests we did on the Spastics and the Looking Glass. And you'll remember I did a bunch of work on spoons where I took a bunch of plastic spoons and I clear coated them to give them a real smooth surface, and then I gave them a coating of either Spastics or Looking Glass. And then I clear coated them with a bunch of different options, and it's been probably 3 or 4 months since I did that. So let's lay these out and see how they've aged. Okay, so these on this side from here over are all Looking Glass, and of course they have different coatings on them, and this from here over is done with Spastics. Now when we first did this, it really was my conclusion that the Spastics came out a little better, a little more glassy, a little more reflective, a little more chrome-like. But as they've aged, they really are showing a big difference now. You can still see that it's pretty reflective. This is Spastics with floor wax over it. It was dipped in floor wax. And this treatment really ended up being the best to preserve the reflective surface. And it looks to be the best one still out of all the ones I'm looking at. It's the least gray. This one's not too bad. It's two-part resin. It came out okay. This one is UV resin, and it's okay, but not quite as reflective and clean as that. Now, in contrast, the Looking Glass really has aged a little bit better. It's a little darker in that it almost looks kind of like a black chrome, but not quite black chrome. You can see that they look better across a bunch of different top coats, as opposed to the Spastics, which got pretty bad. You can see how gray it went after these few months. It's really going pretty gray, but you know what? I mean, that's not bad, and it's for the simplicity. It has to be the easiest way to get a chrome finish that sort of lasts a little longer than the Spastics. The Spastics looks fantastic at first, and then it tends to go gray. But you know, it just can't hold a candle to the reflective quality of silver. Even when it's been tinted, even when the clear coat has been tinted to make it look gold, the reflection is just much clearer. Okay, so let's put that away. That's ancient history. What I've got now is a brand new set of plastic spoons. They're pretty shiny. I'm not going to put any other treatment on there at all. I'm just going to rinse these off. They're in soapy water. I'm going to coat them in silver. I'm going to silver plate all these, and then we're going to do the same sort of experimentation where I coat them with different clear coats to see how it affects the silver. Because silver is so reactive, it tends to tarnish, right? If you've got anything silver at home, you know it goes black when exposed to oxygen or anything it reacts with. So it's really important to be able to get a clear coat on it really quickly, but get one on there that it will not react with. You can see this one is very bright and silvery, and this one is reflective, but a little dark, almost tending towards sort of black chrome, black pearl kind of a tone. And that comes from when you wait a little too long to apply your clear coat. It starts to tarnish. It starts to go a little dark. And the really sad part about this is this lure will continue to get dark over the course of the next couple of years. Now, I'll probably lose it before it goes black, but it'll continue to go dark and just kind of lose a really chrome look. Let me show you the options for clear coating that I'm going to be using. Let me turn off the heater. I've got a room heater on here just to get these clear coats up to temperature. All this stuff I used on those other spoons. So I'm going to start with the spray-on products. This is a Krylon Clear Glaze. This is a Rust-Oleum Auto Enamel that I'll try spraying on there. I've got a 2-part clear resin. UV, this is a Lumelite UV resin. I've got an automotive, I've got an automotive lacquer, and this is just for dipping. And then I've got a 2K or a 2-part automotive clear coat, which is a little more of a pain in the butt, but it's worth trying. Okay, before I continue to go ahead and put silver on these, I'm going to have to put a background color, because otherwise it'll look like this, just sort of semi-reflective and see-through. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the inside of the spoon white, and I'll leave the rest the way it is. Okay, now I need to let these dry and we'll get back to silver plating. Okay, so here's the first one. You can clearly see the camera, and I'm not sure if you can see the reflection of the rest of the shop in there. That's pretty good. So now I'm going to hang it up. I'm going to do them all, and then we'll go directly to clear coating, one different clear coat at a time. Okay, so I've got them all right here. It's a little strange painting on this clear plastic. It tends to want to stay a little bit of a translucent sort of effect there, but I got it on there. It looks pretty good, but you can see it reflects the camera and everything. And it's so. Let's do the easiest thing first. Krylon clear glaze. I'll go back into the booth and do it. Goes on milky. Let's see if it changes. All right, let's try the Rust-Oleum Automotive. Again, a little bit milky. This one's looking terrible. Hopefully this one will be a little better. Okay, now let's try the UV clear. Again, I just grab one at random. Put it on there, see what happens. Now, I'm not putting any kind of mid coat on these. Usually I put a mid coat, but I know mid coats work. I'm trying to cut a step out and see if I can do this without a mid coat. So, here goes. Okay, now I'm going to mix up a little bit of two-part clear. This stuff has gone a little yellow on me, but it'll do the trick. Okay, a few drops of this. I'm going to go ahead and mix this up. All right, let's give this a shot. The thing is to see if it actually reacts with the silver. Sometimes it'll react with the silver and actually absorb the silver. Sometimes it'll make the silver oxidize and turn it really black. So we'll see. Let's do another easy one. This one will just be dipping. This is a clear lacquer ready for spraying. It's an automotive lacquer. Now let's go ahead and dip this one. And I'm gonna put it over here so it can drip. Only one left to do, and that's the two-part spray, and that'll have to do in the spray booth. So to spray this two-part automotive, I'm gonna have to go back to the respirator. Whew, it's cold out. Well, it's the next day. Let's see what these spoons look like. Well, there's some obvious good ones and some obvious bad ones. Let's get them down in the light. All right, so here are the ones that are obviously no good at all. This was absolutely destroyed, and this was the Krylon Glaze Clear Spray. Not an option at all. Here's the Rust-Oleum. This was our automotive spray can spray. Again, badly marred, a few areas that came out okay. This is the automotive lacquer dipped right in that can. And again, it looks like it wanted to sort of eat the silver pretty badly. So those are absolute no's, right? Here is two-part resin. Not nearly as bad as I thought it would be, but clearly you can see that it's going kind of dark. What that tells me is that it did react a little bit with the silver, and it started to tarnish just a bit. Between these two, it's kind of a toss-up. They both came out about the same. This is the 2K automotive two-part clear, and this is UV clear, amazingly, without anything in between the silver and the UV, which looks pretty good. There's a little bit of a haze, not quite as perfectly reflective. It's pretty good, but this one is definitely clearer or more crisp, if there's such a thing. But you can see my fingers reflected in there, I think. You can see how clear the reflection is on this one. But these are options that are pretty good, and the clear winner, I think, is, as always, the floor wax. Believe it or not, floor wax gives you the most clear and crisp reflection. It doesn't seem to be turning it black at all. I'm pretty impressed with it, even though I already knew that that was the option of choice for mid coats, and I was looking for an option where I wouldn't have to use a mid coat, and I could go directly into a clear coat to protect the silver. But I think I'm just gonna have to stick to dipping it in the floor wax, and I'll show you the floor wax I use. And this is the floor wax I use. It's Pledge Floor Care. Well, I think I'm gonna have to stick to using a mid coat. I guess in a pinch, I can clear coat it with UV. In the end, it's gonna get a clear coat with either UV or that 2K automotive. Probably UV, it's just much easier to work with. The nice thing about the 2K automotive spray paint is that you can tint it really easy. It sprays easy, dries pretty quick. And tinting it is how I get this really beautiful sort of gold effect that just absolutely looks super sharp and is very reflective and a really good color for redfish in murky water. I plan to do an upcoming video on making one of these duplex guns. They're real simple to make, it doesn't take much. Thanks for watching. Certainly subscribe if you haven't, and I'll try my best to answer all your questions as they come in, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.